Inside El Chapo's supermax prison, a living hell worse than death. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fable B. Today, we're delving into the dark and mysterious world of one of the most notorious criminals in modern history, El Chapo. But our focus isn't just on his criminal escapades. It's on the unimaginable living hell he now finds himself in, the notorious supermax prison. Stay tuned as we uncover why El Chapo's supermax confinement is considered worse than death. El Chapo's infamous legacy. Before we explore the horrors of his current situation, let's quickly recap El Chapo's notorious legacy. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, once the head of the Sinaloa cartel, rose to infamy for his ruthless drug empire and his ability to escape from high-security prisons not once, but twice. His arrest in 2016 marked the end of his reign, and he was subsequently extradited to the United States to face justice. The arrival at Supermax El Chapo's journey into despair truly begins upon his arrival at the United States Penitentiary Administrative Maximum Facility, also known as ADX Florence, or simply Supermax. This fortress is designed to house the most dangerous and high-profile criminals, featuring cutting-edge security measures and a level of isolation that is beyond comprehension. The unbearable isolation, one of the key factors making El Chapo's supermax experience worse than death, is the extreme isolation he endures. Inmates at Supermax are confined to their cells for 23 hours a day, with minimal human contact. The lack of social interaction, daylight, and the perpetual silence contribute to a psychological torture that is difficult to fathom. The unforgiving conditions. El Chapo's living conditions are far from luxurious. His cell is a stark, windowless 7-12-foot space furnished with only a bed, a desk, and a stool. The absence of any personal items or adornments makes it a cold and dehumanizing environment. Add to that the constant surveillance, and you have a recipe for mental deterioration. No hope for parole. Unlike a life sentence with the possibility of parole, El Chapo's supermax confinement offers no hope for release. This facility is designed for those deemed too dangerous to ever reintegrate into society. For El Chapo, this means spending the rest of his life in a desolate and hopeless existence. As we wrap up today's exploration into why El Chapo's supermax prison is considered worse than death, it's essential to reflect on the fine line between justice and cruelty. The intention behind these extreme measures is to ensure public safety, but at what cost to the human spirit? Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, one of the most notorious drug lords in history, was incarcerated for a variety of charges related to his involvement in drug trafficking, money laundering, organized crime, and other criminal activities. El Chapo's criminal empire and the extensive network of the Sinaloa cartel, which he led, played a significant role in the global drug trade. To understand why El Chapo ended up in prison, we need to explore his rise to power, the criminal activities he was involved in, and the legal proceedings that ultimately led to his imprisonment. Early life and rise to power. Joaquin Archivaldo Guzman Loera was born on April 4, 1957, in La Tuna, a small rural community in the Mexican state of Sinaloa. Growing up in poverty, he turned to a life of crime at an early age, becoming involved in the cultivation and trafficking of drugs. El Chapo's ambition and cunning quickly set him apart in the world of organized crime. In the 1980s, he became a key figure in the Guadalajara cartel, working alongside other infamous drug lords such as Miguel Ángel Félix Gallardo. Following Félix Gallardo's arrest in 1989, the cartel fragmented, and El Chapo seized the opportunity to establish the Sinaloa cartel, which would later become one of the most powerful drug trafficking organizations in the world. 2. Sinaloa cartel and global drug trade. Under El Chapo's leadership, the Sinaloa cartel expanded its operations, controlling vast territories and trafficking enormous quantities of drugs, particularly cocaine, marijuana, and methamphetamine. The cartel established smuggling routes across the U.S.-Mexico border and developed sophisticated methods to transport narcotics internationally. El Chapo's ability to navigate the complex and dangerous world of drug trafficking contributed to his rise as a criminal mastermind. The Sinaloa cartel's influence extended beyond Mexico, reaching into the United States, Europe, and other regions. El Chapo's notoriety grew as law enforcement agencies from various countries intensified efforts to dismantle his organization. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and other international agencies collaborated to apprehend him and dismantle the cartel's operations. Third, arrests and escapes. Despite El Chapo's growing criminal empire, he faced several arrests throughout his criminal career. His first major arrest occurred in Guatemala in 1993, but he managed to escape from a maximum security prison in Mexico in 2001. This escape, allegedly aided by corrupt prison officials, marked the beginning of a series of evasions that would further solidify his reputation as a slippery and elusive figure. El Chapo was captured again in 2014, but this time he was extradited to the United States to face charges related to drug trafficking and organized crime. The U.S. government sought to hold him accountable for his role in flooding American streets with illicit drugs and contributing to the ongoing opioid crisis. However, even from behind bars, El Chapo continued to make headlines. In July 2015, he managed to escape from the Altiplano federal prison through an elaborate tunnel that had been constructed to connect his prison cell to a nearby construction site. This daring escape, which involved extensive planning and coordination, highlighted the reach and resources at El Chapo's disposal. APV, legal proceedings and extradition. Following his 2016 recapture, El Chapo faced a lengthy legal process in Mexico. He was tried on a range of charges, including drug trafficking, money laundering, and organized crime. The trial, which began in 2018, garnered international attention due to the high-profile nature of the case and the revelations about the inner workings of the Sinaloa cartel. Witnesses, including former associates and even family members, provided testimonies that shed light on the cartel's operations, El Chapo's leadership style, and the vast wealth amassed through illegal activities. The trial also exposed corruption at various levels of the Mexican government, with allegations of bribery and collusion between drug traffickers and law enforcement.